Hi, my name is Samantha Jellison of Securely Insured, and this is Medicare on the Mind. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to work with a broker. So, a good broker is going to sit with you, or whether it be on the phone, over a Zoom call, or in person, and they're going to take down a list of your medications. They're going to ask you about what is important to you in your healthcare plan, what kind of pre-existing conditions you have, or any chronic illnesses that you're currently treating. And they're going to ask you a list of your doctors. And that will include specialists, because if we are shopping for a Medicare Advantage plan, it's important to make sure that your prescriptions are covered, your doctors are covered, that you're getting the benefits that are most important to you, whether that be some form of dental insurance, some form of hearing, vision, and what the plan is going to cover. When it comes to shopping for a Medicare supplement plan, they're still going to want a list of your prescriptions because, of course, you're going to need a separate Part D prescription drug plan. So that will always be on the forefront of making sure you're selecting the right PDB plan. With a Medicare supplement plan, because you have the freedom pretty much to go anywhere where any provider accepts original Medicare, it's a little less important. The biggest concern is going to be about what your budget is. And as we've mentioned before, when it comes to Medicare supplements, you will have the same exact benefits on Plan G from one company as you will on Plan G from another company. The biggest difference here is going to be rates. Things that you need to keep in mind, though, when it comes to that, is that rates increase. And we know that from prior videos. However, the other factors that go into shopping a Medicare supplement are going to be whether or not they have a history of volatile rate increases, what their A&M rating is, how much financial security, stability that the company has, whether you're going to be looking into an age attained, a age issued, or a community rated plan. These are important factors because it will dictate how the company will increase your rates. For age attained, typically you will be looking at rate increases year over year based on your age as you get older. Age issued is going to be a little different. They don't raise rates based off of your age. So if you buy the Medicare supplement plan at age 65, you're going to continue to pay the rate of a 65-year-old. However, you are going to be looking at market increases. So you're not safe from having a yearly increase. And with community rated, it really comes down to how much the community, meaning the area within your region, is paying for that plan. So you may be paying a rate at 65 that someone at 75 is going to be paying the same rate. One thing to be on the lookout for community rated plans is that they do have something called disappearing discounts. So when you are enrolling into a Medicare supplement for the first time, you may notice that there's these discounts that come along with the plan, whether it's a household discount, meaning someone else in the house either has the same plan or just is a roommate in certain cases and over a certain age. There's non-smoker discounts. But over time, in a community rated Medicare supplement plan, those rates, those discounts can start to wane off a little bit. So that's important to know. But back to working with a broker, it's not the same as if you call a big carrier call center and enroll. It's not the same as if you go on Medicare.gov and enroll yourself. And the reason why is because not if, but when you have an issue with your plan, whether it be Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement, you are going to find that you are dealing with the problem on your own. As a broker with clients, if I've helped someone enroll them in a plan, they know that they can reach out to me anytime they have an issue, and I will be on the phone taking care of it with the carrier rather than having you spend your time sitting on hold, waiting to talk to somebody. And you have the confidence to know that your broker is there to form a relationship with you over time, and wants to help you for the life of your plan. So it's not something where you're going to call somebody and get one person one day and then somebody else the next day. You work with the same person. I obviously highly recommend working with a broker because we know the plans, we know how they work, we know the networks, we know how mistakes can happen in medical billing, and usually we can problem solve a lot quicker. So that's one benefit of working with a broker. The other is that we usually are able to keep an eye out on industry trends and things that will be changing for the next upcoming year. And we get to know you as a person. So we know what health concerns you're looking at. We know what type of health conditions you might currently have, and a plan that may suit you better for the following year. And lastly, working with a broker, it's a touch of personal service that you're not going to find working with a call center or going about it on your own. Medicare is very complex to navigate. It can be one of those, it seems easy, and it's very easy to make a mistake when you're selecting plans, when you're selecting drug plans especially. You have to do a lot of research when you're going about it on your own. A lot of people will ask, how do you get paid as a broker? So my service costs nobody anything that I help. No client pays me directly. The way that I am compensated is by the carriers. We earn a commission. And it's not something that we make a ton of money doing. We do it because we enjoy it. We like to help people. That is why we get into this. Insurance is a form of protection, and we are just people in general, good brokers, are here to protect people, and especially the most vulnerable populations. So I like to have full disclosure. Like I said, brokers are not paid by clients. It does not cost you anything. And one thing that I like to kind of address is that many people feel that insurance agents are constantly trying to upsell them. Honestly, we are not trying to upsell you on additional plans, ancillary plans, for the sake of just to sell you something. It's because there's a reason for it. For an example, on a Medicare Advantage plan, when you go into the hospital, you are looking at a pretty high daily copay for days 1 through 6. There is a plan that we talked about in a prior video called a hospital indemnity plan. They're usually pretty affordable, and what it does is help someone cover that cost of that high initial copayment for a hospital stay. We're not here to push that on you, but if you are suddenly getting a bill from your insurance plan for $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 to $2,000, that can be a lot of money for some folks at the drop of a hat, and that can feel really overwhelming. We offer these ancillary plans in order to make sure that you are aware that they exist and to know that you have that option. But again, it's not obviously a requirement of working with a broker, but just know that we are looking out for your best interest. That is, in a nutshell, what we do. With the difference between what I do and what Joe Schmo at the call center does is he asks you, what do you want to enroll in? You tell him because your friend is on that plan, you want to be on that plan. And that might work for some people, but it's not really looking out for your individual interest. And I'm not saying all call centers are bad. There's definitely some really good ones out there. It's just really hard to weed through them. My advice is always to find either a local broker that knows the plans that you are most interested in working with, or somebody who's at least knowledgeable in a certain region. I'm personally licensed in quite a few states, but the states that I prefer to work with are North Carolina because I live here, South Carolina because it's close by, and we have a lot of people that come to North Carolina and sometimes live half-time here, half-time there, and Florida because of the same reasons. I don't really need to expand beyond that because let me tell you, the amount of effort that goes into learning about certain plans, it's a lot. Like, you have to know your stuff. And the biggest challenge with that is that they tend to just breeze through something. They don't take the time to read the summary of benefits. They don't know the networks. They don't know. And these are people that, might be living in California and trying to sell you a Medicare Advantage plan in Massachusetts or something, something along those lines. Like, it's just best to work with somebody locally or that is known for working in that specific area. And really, there's definitely a lot more benefits that we could go over, but those are the main ones. And, like I said, you don't have to work with me, but just make sure that you're doing your homework on who you do work with. It can be a very beneficial long-term relationship that you build with your broker, because I know if I've got an issue with my car insurance, I don't want to be on the phone for 2 to 3 hours waiting for somebody to solve it. I want to call my auto insurance agent and I want to say, hey, can you get this solved for me? And essentially that's what we do year round for people. And I guess that just about covers a lot of what I wanted to talk about today. And I hope that sheds a little light on what it is like to work with a broker. And if you have questions or comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. Again, my name is Samantha Jellison of Securely Insured, and this is Medicare on the Mind. Have a great day.